said, there are so many places from which you can get information, and not all of them are real. A lot of them are fake, and it will be very, very challenging to you to figure out what is real versus what is not. So one of the reasons that I got into the business is because I wanted to tell the difference between what's real and what's not, what's important, what's not, and who gets to decide. What I think about in terms of what I do, in the amount of time that we have a broadcast on, nightly news, for example, is 30 minutes, but you actually only get about 28. And in that time frame, we certainly frame what people think about. We frame what people will see. But my job is not to tell them what to think about those things, but we certainly do frame it. We want you to be able to make a decision on your own about the information, but that information should be accurate. It should be real. And we hope this session will help you discern the difference between the two. Byron?
So this issue about misinformation in social media, for me, like my grandmama would say, is lying, right? So how do you recognize the truth versus a lie? And while it is different for your generation, it is not new, right? There have been people in our space of media who have been lying for a long time. And you'll see examples of that a little later. But I think about Nazi Germany in World War II. Hitler's Minister of Misinformation, Joseph Goebbels, who once said, "A lie told once remains a lie, but a lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth." And that's what we're seeing right now in social media. I think about, so recently there was this picture, you guys may have seen it, of the Pope in a puffer jacket. Looked good. 30 million people saw it. Was not true. It was a lie. It was made up. Perhaps it was made up for to be humorous, and that may be okay. But the reality, the age we live in now, certainly in this age of our national politics now, people are trying to manipulate that misinformation to mislead people, misguide people, to fuel tensions that already exist in our nation. I know news organizations like ABC, NBC, and all the other major news organizations have people assigned to try and discover, recognize what's fake, what's not. I was talking to my colleague at ABC News yesterday about the process there. And what surprised me, while this version of the challenge is new, many of the techniques are old. Rehema and I both know, as longtime journalists, that in our job, you rarely rely on one source. You rely on multiple sources. So one of the ways to deal with this misinformation, if you see something online that seems too unbelievable, check it. See, can it be verified someplace else? Or one of the major news websites. That's one way to do it. Apparently, there are also things that you can, when you're looking at an image, to decide if it's accurate or not. Like look around the edges to see if it appears that it's been pasted in. I was told there's this arms race now. And there are companies, AI companies, that are trying to profit from this age of misinformation. And there are AI companies who are trying to come up with software to combat that. Adobe, for instance, I was told, is a company is working on software right now that will with all images will have like a nutrition list. You know how like on the back of a cereal box or it'll say all of the ingredients? They're working on the software that when images appear or information appears online, there will be this nutrition list. You can see where it originated from, who the source was, who wrote it, where it was taken. Another tip my colleague gave me about identifying misinformation is when you look at something, it should have somewhere in the information when it was taken, where it was taken, and who did it. And if those three things aren't there, that's an early indication that it may not be true.
Some of this makes me think about being in high school, and there's a lot of rumors that circulate in high school about people. Somebody's great, somebody's messing around, somebody's girlfriend, somebody's boyfriend, and then you start repeating that stuff. You haven't gone to the person to whom they said something has happened, but you trusted the person who said it to you. Now, from high school to the school of the world, we can get in just as much trouble. I'm not even familiar with this thing, but websites like Snopes, is that how you pronounce it? Snopes. Factcheck.org or PolitiFact can help verify the accuracy of information you encounter. Some social media platforms also provide fact-checking features. This is true. What I wonder is, can you guys show me your hands? How many of you ever fact-check things that you see on the web? Whoa, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. Just to get even smarter about what you already do. Because that is so critical. I'm of the belief that if we were able to get all of our citizens educated and willing to do what you do, we would be in a much better place.